Now, electric cars are only good apparently for short journeys and city use, not long journeys. Well, in this episode, we're going to be smashing that myth into the long grass because we're going to be covering a journey a friend of mine did in an electric Land Rover Defender that we converted, where he started in the positively tropical climate of mid-Wales here in our workshop and drove 3,000 kilometres all the way to his home in the Arctic conditions of Sweden, where he ended it in a metre of snow. I'm Richard from Electric Classic Cars, and let's get into that. Now, let's just set the scene for this journey, because what this journey was not was some unrealistic, fabricated Top Gear race challenge thing from John O'Groats to Land's End, which is just impractical and doesn't really happen. This was a real-world journey to get from A to B, 3,000 odd kilometres, with a number of overnight stops, stopping for food, a couple of detours to see suppliers and potential customers. And I'm not being funny, they couldn't have picked a less efficient electric car to do it in either, because the electric Land Rover Defender that they chose, which was, or did the journey in, which is a 130, click on the link above if you want to see more details on that. You know, as far as efficiency is concerned, aerodynamically, it's not that great. It's a pretty heavy vehicle. You know, it's no heavier, obviously, than the petrol or diesel version, but, you know, it was fully loaded with 4 adults in, their luggage. All the pickup bit in the back was fully loaded as well with gear. And, you know, it was some epic journey that those guys did. So to find out more, we're going to call up Tom over in Sweden and get him on the screen and just tell us all about that journey. All right, here's the man himself, Tom. How's it going, mate?
Good. Yourselves?
All right. First question: have you recovered from your epic adventure, mate? Because it was only last weekend.
Right. Yeah, I believe I have actually.
Yeah.
Some good sleep, good food, and time with the family.
I mean, it's a shame I couldn't join him. We were at the Classic Car Show here in Birmingham, but you took Ben along from our workshop, and you had, who else was in there? Pera was there.
That and you one. So we were literally fully loaded. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the photos.
Over 300 kilo.
You sent the photos as we were at the show. We were just following your whole journey every single day as we were at the show. It was great. Okay, we were talking to people at the show, but equally, it's like, where's Tom and the guys now? Oh, wow, they're in Stockholm. It's like, really, is it quite interesting? So yeah. I'm going to share on my screen here the actual journey that you did, just so that people can see the map, because, you know, it was an epic journey. So I've got up on my screen here now, Tom. That is essentially where you traveled from and to. So that's 3,000 kilometers, 6 countries, over 4 days. And as you say, 4 adults, all the luggage, fully loaded in the back, because you had the big off-road tires you were taking with you. Where there was, you know, a Beetle kit or something you had in the back there. So it was
there was lots of bits and pieces. We were really simulating the load that truck is going to be carrying on and off, which was awesome, actually.
Yeah, so it's one epic journey, mate. So I think what we'll do is we'll split it down day by day. So if I actually, just to set the scene, because I know there'll be a lot of people out there saying, you know, what's the size of the battery and stuff. So it's worth saying it's 170 kilowatt hour battery pack in that Land Rover. Maximum charging speed is 150 kilowatt CCS, 22 kilowatt AC. I think that's pretty much it. There might be other questions, but any questions in the comments below, and me and Tom will try and answer it afterwards. But right. Yeah, day one then. Let's go through day one. So day one then, Tom, you set off in the afternoon from the workshop here, yeah?
Right, yeah. So we set off, from the workshop. Then we drove to Ben's house. So we actually didn't even go straight like that. It already started our squigglies. But it was really non-eventful because we got most of Britain done on one charge. Wales, Britain, then did one quick charge or long charge there while we ate dinner.
So that was at Cambridge here. So I'm just highlighting on the map. That's Cambridge services. So you stopped there for like some food, yeah?
Yeah, we had dinner. Basically, the truck was done before we were done. Actually,
do you know what? That's always the case. The amount of people that don't own an EV and think you have to wait to charge up a vehicle But in reality, you're halfway through a burger and you're at
Yeah.
pains to say, "Oh, your charger's done." Like, well, hang on, man, I'm not finished eating yet. That's
Yeah,
just how it
and I think
works.
because it was day one, I mean, that's what surprised us right off the bat was it's such a big battery pack, and yet it's still going fast. I mean, the charge curve on that truck is awesome. So we ate there. Then we went to the next place, and I can't ever
I
remember that.
think that was
Colin.
down near Harwich somewhere because you were a
Yeah,
little bit
it
early
was
for the ferry from memory, and you charged up a
exactly.
little bit there.
Well, we figured that we wouldn't be able to charge on the ferry. Some ferries actually in Sweden are starting to do that, where they provide chargers, but not this one. So we actually charged up before we got on the ferry. Pretty much topped it off, and that set us up really well for the next day, where we had to be on time at Lars's place by kind of 10 o'clock. 10 between 10.
So day one, literally, you just stopped off for some food, charged up there, drove to the ferry. I think you said you were about 45 minutes early for the ferry, so you charged up just before the ferry, and then you got on the ferry. So no dramas. It was just plain sailing. Who was driving on the first leg?
Well, we had the Englishman, the slash Walesman, Ben drive, because he's used to that side of the road.
True.
Yeah.
All right. So that was day one, and you got was it an overnight ferry then? Was it?
Yeah, overnight ferry to Hook of Holland. So that was kind of perfect there for sure.
All right. So day two was a little bit of a adventure because you got the Netherlands, Germany, and I think you ended the day in Denmark. Was that right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think this day was interesting because, I mean, we got to see this journey was not just us to drive and test, but it was also to meet quite a lot of different people along the route. So we got to see Lars, one of the people that we're working with on, with charging and etc. So it was really fun to share the vehicle with them because they're all equivocally excited about this vehicle.
Yeah.
And you can see it on the smile tells it all. It was just like,
yeah. I saw Lars's face. He was just looked like a kid at Christmas. He looked so excited. Yeah. So did you charge up at Lars's, or did you charge up later on then?
Yeah, I was thinking we will, but we never actually charged anything at Lars's. So we actually went right to Germany, charged up there just a little bit. We were we're trying to test as many different chargers along the way just to see how easy it is. And it's quite crazy because if we got to a charger and we couldn't get the car to start, other people beside us in a Volkswagen ID4 and a Porsche and a Volvo is the same thing. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I guess this charger isn't working so well.
Yeah, I saw one photo you sent me, which was you were charging it at a Tesla supercharger, and there was some Tesla owner taking a photo of Pera with a big confused face on him. It was just like,
we weren't sure
doing here?
He was asked if he could take a picture of the truck, but it really more looked like he was taking a picture of Pera the bear.
Pera the bear, yeah. So on this second day, then obviously you got all the way up to where's that, Maribou?
Maribou, yeah.
Maribou.
In Denmark.
But you had obviously a couple of main charges, but you were going off the beaten track just to try different makes and models of chargers, just to make sure they worked on the continent. Then.
Right, and also it's different every country a little bit, but here I think we had our longest non-stop drive, which was as soon as we got like south of Bremen there, we did a really big charge.
Yeah.
And then we drove non-stop almost all the way to Maribou. We did one little, again, because of the ferry, we did one little, just a few kilowatts into the car.
Yeah.
So that we could get to Maribou because we were going to get there a bit late.
Okay. So you overnighted at Maribou then? Yeah.
And there we had a really nice AC charge overnight. So actually, that's where we had a really fun note. Somebody's like, I've been following your journey along. It's so cool to see the truck. I'm like, that's awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I saw that. You sent me that photo. It's just it's nice that you get notes like that. Yeah. And not like notes like, you can't park this here. This is an electric car. What are you doing?
Well, there was so on there, that another fun bit about that is we had breakfast, got up, And literally, as Ben was reaching to go turn off the charge,
Yeah.
it stopped.
Oh, brilliant.
Like, we were like, that is really weird.
But
So
that's just how it works, though, isn't it, with electric cars? I mean, you've had electric cars probably as long as I have.
yeah,
You're very rarely waiting for the car to charge up. It's charging when you're doing something else, like either sleeping or eating, and just that's
yeah.
how it is.
And if you get used to that really quickly. I mean, everybody asks me how fast does it take to charge, and I'm like, well, about 10 to 20 seconds. It really depends on how long it takes you to put it in and how long
Yeah,
it takes you to take it out.
that's so true.
Who waits for their phone to charge while they're like.
Did you ever drive it down to zero? Was it like a day two? Because I remember with day 2 or day 3, you had a bit of like squeaky bum time. Was that day 2 or was that day 3?
So that was day 3.
Day 3. All right, let's go to day 3 then. So day 3 was Maribor in Denmark, and finally getting into Sweden. But that's a couple of detours there as well that you've got there to Helsingborg, I think. So that's some visits, or
so we went into Copenhagen, where we got to see actually our next customer who we're doing that nice Porsche for him. And after we do his Porsche, we're going to be doing a Land Rover for him. So he got to try it, which is fantastic. And then in Helsingør, there's another customer who wants a 110 done, so he got to try it. And I was just telling the boys, I'm like, oh, these guys are just so blown away by the truck. And they're like, well, do you expect anything different? And I'm like,
yeah, well, true.
but still, it's just so funny. They're like little kids, you know.
Yeah. Well,
and,
that's good that they got to drive the vehicles, because I mean, you're quite a way further up than this, so people will see in day 4 how far up they are. So for them to test drive a vehicle, it would be, geographically quite challenging. So the fact you could just drive past and they could have a go was great.
Yeah. And then, so we went up. This was fun. Below Jönköping there, you can see on the map, pretty much where you have day 3, the tag there. That's where we actually found, we were just trying. Let's try. Sweden, we didn't know that they have these massive, like, semi-truck, like real lorry chargers.
Electric lorry truck chargers. I bet how quick are they?
Well, they basically say they'll do anything from 150 to 900 or 1,000 volt systems. Yeah. That was kind of cool. And these are 360 kilowatt chargers. Wow. So, not bad. Click.
That's pretty quick.
We put in the truck. Within like 20 seconds, click, 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 started charging. We're like, wow, cool. We're pretty pumped about that. And then we drove, and we're gonna see how well this truck goes and how far we can push it. And we were by Norrköping. We wanted to stay there. We found a place to stay there, so we knew we were gonna be touch and go near 5% to 0%. Yeah. And of course we took it to 0. It was starting to get cold. and what surprised us, I think it's because the battery pack is so big. Yeah. That even when you take it to 0, of course it's not liking it, but it's like it throttles you just like any car does. But still, it was able to. We ran into actually troubles trying to find AC chargers that were working. And so we had to go to 3 different chargers to get a proper charger, and the truck like took it. Oh yeah, it's just such a big buffer with that massive. Yeah, I mean,
as with all electric cars, it'll derate as it gets to 0, but there's always a little bit of like a reserve. Same as petrol cars, there's always a little bit of like reserve in the tank after it. I wouldn't push it too much beyond 0, obviously, but I mean, there's always a little bit left there. So yeah. So anyway, was that the only time you had a problem trying to find a charger then at I can't even say that. What's that place again?
Norrköping, it's called.
Norrköping. So Norrköping, you had to do a little bit of wandering around the town to find an AC charger to charge up overnight that worked. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's because the hotel, they were rebuilding it. Then there was a car garage that, well, we couldn't even find the entrance to. So
I doubt the car would have fitted in anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what I figured. And Pedro's like, oh, it would fit. I'm like, well, I don't feel like taking a hotel on the roof, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you overnighted there, and in the morning, was it again fully charged, or did it make it? Because obviously, if you stopped there at 0, was it a 22 kilowatt or 11 kilowatt?
Yeah, and that was actually, I would say, our only issue is when you get to these AC chargers, they say 22 kilowatt, but you're never sure if that post is splitting the 22 kilowatt to 11
Yeah.
each or not. And so the first one, perfect, was 22 kilowatt, charged up overnight. This one, no, it charged up to less than 50%.
Okay.
So that was fine. That's why we went right before Stockholm, before we met the next
So
on-road
that's
truck there.
so we're on to day 4 now. So this is the final leg. Yeah, this is going back
Yeah,
home.
this is the final
Right.
leg, and here we were meeting these overlander guys that are really, yeah, they're, well, again, excited like crazy about the truck. And so
Yeah.
so we met them. So just before we got there, we topped it up a little bit when we had a coffee, grabbed a coffee and some buns,
Yeah.
and yeah, so that was the, like you say, if you just grab a coffee and a pee break, then you got enough to continue on.
So that's why you went over to the right there rather than just directly up. You had to go see those guys over there.
Yeah, we had to see those guys, and we actually had one more person that we just couldn't fit in to see because the trip was getting long. Four guys in
Yeah,
the
just
truck.
a bit. 3,000 kilometers. I think that's long enough, mate. I mean,
Yeah.
what was the longest day? Was it day 4 was the longest then, or what?
Actually, no, I would say 2, 3, and 4. It ended up being, it's more because of the stops visiting the different
Yeah,
customers that got long.
yeah, gotcha. But
And
at
and
this
here,
point, you were sharing the driving between yourself, Ewan, and Pera then, by the sounds of it.
yeah, and Ben was happy to be logging. Ben was doing tons of logging. Just, it's so important, so key that when we're taking these vehicles, I try to explain this to all the customers, like, we really test these vehicles to
Oh
the
yeah.
nth degree so that everything is tickety boo. So we were logging a lot of stuff, and so Ben didn't want to drive. He was really sending logs. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
So on this day 4 trip, then I mean, you're getting pretty much into the wilds of Sweden here, so not really too many cities. What was the charging infrastructure like as you get more into the countryside then?
Well, maybe Sweden's really. I'm used to driving a Tesla, honestly,
Yeah,
and so I never really looked at any other chargers. So, but the amount of chargers out there right now just blew my mind. Like,
yeah.
almost every place we stopped, within a few 100-meter radius, you had like 4 or 5 different charge stations.
That's
Like,
the way to do it. Yeah.
it's insane. And so, I mean, even, Borlänge we stopped, and then Mora we just stopped there because then we had to drop Peta off and everything, and so I didn't want to bother charging late.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we
yeah.
just got 2 kind of quick charges in a row. But I
So
mean,
it sounds like the vehicle is pretty much 24 hours a day, either driving or charging up. Is that right?
yeah, yeah. I think this is what blew us away the most is the vehicle never had a break. Like,
Yeah.
except for the first ferry from Britain to Holland, it never stopped. It never shut down. It was
Wow.
going nonstop, and no faults, nothing. Just
Now that's probably a first for a Land Rover working 4 days non-stop and not breaking down. I mean, the Le Mans 24-hour race is something, but this is a Le Mans, what would it be? 48, 96-hour
yeah.
Le Mans journey.
Uh,
So
we were the most blown away by that. I mean, we were done. The vehicle was just happy, just ticking along.
that's the way it should be. That's why we do what we do, Tom. Creating really, reliable classic cars that can be enjoyed for not just like city short runs, but for long adventures like this. And certainly when the
Yeah.
charging infrastructure is as good as you've experienced there on the continent, I mean, there's no blockers, if you like, to have a long journey
Not
like this in an
anymore.
electric vehicle.
Not
And one
anymore.
that's not as efficient as a Tesla. Let's get that out there. This vehicle is not as good on the watt hours per mile as a Tesla by any stretch of imagination, is it?
No, and we had a lot of discussions about that. Yeah, my Beetle is the most efficient. It's half as like it's twice as efficient as our Tesla. And
Wow.
then this is again, the Tesla's twice as efficient as the truck. But so we during the journey we had a lot of time to think and look and
Yeah.
Google. And what surprised us the most is that this truck is just as efficient as the Rivian, as the Ford Lightning. Actually, it's just a little bit
Brilliant.
better efficiency, and that really blew us away because due to the big battery pack, I can drive further than our Model S. It's about 100K further per charge,
Yeah.
which is that 100K makes a huge difference. It's really nice, and then it's a champ. Like
Well, and bear in mind, this vehicle was fully loaded as well. I mean, this was like absolutely fully loaded too. So
yeah.
when you got up home, I'm interested because we were watching on Sunday or Monday, whenever it was, when you got up home. Yeah, the picture started coming through with snow, right? So what temperature was it when you got home up to Little Hardle?
A little Herdal. So the temperature here right now is minus 26 degrees Celsius.
Wow. And the
Um,
vehicle's working fine?
well, one, it is not the truck's fault. One problem we had is that the switch between the window and the feet, that wire we didn't hook it up correctly. That was my fault. And
Okay.
so as soon as we got that, I mean, it is amazing. It's heated seats, so nice heat, and anytime you go in anywhere, you can keep the heater on because the
Yeah.
vehicle doesn't have to be running. And yeah, so I've since we got back, I pretty much drove it up to Östersund, which is another 230 kilometers for the inspection, which it passed with flying colors. So that
Oh, yep. So I
was
forgot about that. So you had to take it up the next day after you arrived for the Swedish, what is
it's
it?
called
Swedish.
SFRO, Swedish Hot Rod Association. They do the control, they fill out all these forms, and then you do the normal MOT
Okay,
with
cool.
the forms done. And that was really cold. That was minus 22 to minus 26 up and back. And again, so much range that really it's no problem. Yeah.
Wow. So it was like minus 25 when you got home, and I'm
And so
interested
much
to know
snow.
after 3,000 kilometers, did you have any idea as to how much it cost you?
Yeah, so looking back, it was right around 500 euro, which is 450 pounds ish. So yeah, right around 500 euro. And when I did the same calculation, if it was like diesel vehicle, that would be about 800 euro. So
No.
it's a definite saving. Um, Definite saving. Yeah, even with
Well,
it. Yeah.
a lot of people say that if you are driving an electric car on motorways and rapid chargers, it costs, more. But, I've never really, discovered that, if I'm honest. I mean,
And this
so
is purely on rapid chargers, right? Like
yeah,
this is not like the price for that vehicle to drive only gets better as soon as, I mean, most people have solar systems at home. As soon as you charge AC,
yeah.
this is as expensive as it can be.
Wow. I mean, just summing up, I mean, it's one epic journey, Tom. All credit to you for taking that journey on. I mean, 3,000 kilometers back home in a Land Rover, probably not the most comfortable car to do a long journey distance travel. And obviously setting off in the subtropical climate of mid Wales and ended up in the Arctic conditions of Little Hardle up in Sweden. It's some feat that you've done there. So well done. Congratulations to you there, Tom.
Thanks. And yeah, what actually we did notice just as we were dropping off PETA is that 4 days, what was great is we planned 4 days and it took 4 days. So we were able to stick to a plan. That was awesome. And then
Nice.
out of the 4 people in the truck, I don't know if it's that interior that we have in there, but none of us had a back pain.
Yeah, to be fair,
So
I did notice the seats in that Land Rover are really comfortable.
Yeah.
Well, and the air suspension too.
Yes, that's true.
The combination, it's like the people that tried it, they're like, this is not like a Land Rover that I'm used to.
Well, anybody who wants to see more details on the build, click on the link above. We'll put the link above on one of our previous episodes on it. But I think, Tom, it's been a brilliant journey you've done there. It really showed that you can do a long distance journey in an electric vehicle, let alone one as inefficient as a 4x4 Land Rover Defender that's electric. But well done, Tom. And, thanks for sharing it with us.
Absolutely. Last thing I was going to mention that I just remembered is when we got into the snow and ice. I mean, here we're driving on total ice and snow.
Yeah.
Again, I think the big battery pack and the way that Land Rover set up, I don't find such a big drop in efficiency as I do in our Tesla. It's quite interesting. It's something to do with the way the 4-wheel drive is set up. Like we had, blowing snow deep.
Yeah.
It took a bit more, of course, it takes more, but nowhere near as much more as our Tesla does, or the Beetle, like the smaller battery.
Do you know what? I wonder if it's because the Tesla battery pack is right underneath, so you get all that cold wind cooling the thing down, whereas the Land Rover Defender obviously got one pack inside, one pack up, and in the front they're kind of out of the wind chill factor, if you know what I mean. Could be, I don't know. I mean, but it's interesting information. So you weren't seen as like detrimental effect on range as you would in the Tesla.
Exactly, and so just for people that were asking me, what do we get in range? I mean, we're getting, and in the summer this thing's going to be getting, I think 500 kilometers. That kind of number, and in the winter, I mean, we're really close to around 400. That's mind blowing.
Yeah, no, it's the benefits of a big battery pack.
yeah.
Brilliant. Hey, Tom, it's been fantastic to talk to you again, mate. And I'll no doubt talk to you again in the coming days. But thanks for joining us on this episode, and I'll speak to you soon.
All right. See you next
later.
Bye.
So there we go. Proof, if proof was needed, that electric cars can do long journeys. 3,000 kilometres in 4 days there in Tom's case. But to most electric car owners out there, that's not really going to come as much surprise because, for me, owning an electric car now for 8 years, we've travelled everywhere in those cars, tens of thousands of miles, holidays in them, the lot. But to people that are thinking of transitioning over to an electric car, they might be a little bit surprised by that. So, question to all you EV owners out there, let's get some numbers. What's the longest journey you've done in your electric car? And I'm not talking about just a single journey, although that's quite, important as well. But I'm talking about holidays and, have you been all around Europe in your electric car? Those are the sort of journeys and experience I think that people considering an electric car would find valuable. So comments below, what are your longest journeys you've ever done in an electric car? And on that note, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you on the next one.